Now our Next.js application knows what pages and paths will be rendering. Our next thing is to render our actual country details page. So up to our last video, we were able to wrap through our data again in the country details component and build the paths and tell our next application what paths and what pages are expected. So next thing is, for each page we need to retrieve those details. So we need to make another API call for that specific country details and tell it, okay, this is our API, this is our response, render it for me. So that's also similar to what we have done in our index, our countries page, where we call the API and display the list countries. Only this time we want to render one country page using another API endpoint. So again, as same as here, we need get static props. So what I will just copy paste this one because it's same thing. I will go to my country details and I'll come here, paste it down here. So only difference will be is our API endpoints. So I will go back to this website where I get the APIs, and I want my name, and this is one by name. So I'll copy this one and I'll paste it here. So here the name will be dynamic, and that will be coming from our routes. So how we will access that? Get static props give us an object that we can access, which called context. So we will do here, we say context, and thus I can access to get my parameter name. So I will come back here, I will say const my, or just country name, and I will say equal to context and have params, then it will have country name. Okay, and what I will do, I'll add this one here, so to be plus my country name. Then I'll get a response, and that response I will transform to a JSON object, and then I'll just return it in my props of the component as, for example, country details. You can name it anything you want, but this one again here I can access it right here as my prop, and let's cancel log this and see if that works. I go back, I go open my console, and there we go. So the country I clicked before, it was Iceland. So I can see I'm getting a response with details on my page. If I go back to my country list page, let's see, click, no, Spain. So I should have a Spain details in here, and it seems to be working. Let's try another one and click Iraq, and we get again details for Iraq. So we know our API is working. Now we have to render those details. So I'll just copy paste some code, as this one is not for going through the JSX or HTML syntaxes and structure. I'll just copy paste this. And what variable I used here, so I have styles because I import some styles. I'll import that too, and I'll remove this. We had it in the demo before, we don't need it. And we have country, so I use here before country in my previous code, so I'll just do Control D to select all and paste it. So as you can see here, it's coming as an array, but it will be always an array for one object. So that's why I'm doing country details, point to the first object and access it. I'll save this, and it's refreshing, and there we go. So that's my so I got my map here, my flag here, and some details, and you can render as many details as you want in here. Let's try again. We go back and let's try Norway. And there we go, it's working. So out of this, I'll remove this cancel log. So when you navigate dynamically to a route, when you go to that route, you need again to fetch the paths, all the dynamic path your next application is expecting. That's how your next app knows how many paths it needs to render and what data needed, because as we know, it built all these pages in the server side. So when it's come in the build time, it does that for you, and when you go to the browser, everything is ready and everything just rendered. So that's why we need this one first, and then we can really go and get our details of that page specifically. And when this build command runs, this one will run as many times as those paths also there, so it will fetch all those data same time.